across the city to come here. But well, here we are finally.
Yes, sure. Now don't worry, it's okay.
Thank you, Mickey. How was your weekend?
Was good, teacher. Was good. Yesterday, I want to go to the jazz festival again, but it was canceled for the weather.
Oh, because of the
So,
rain.
yeah,
Jeez.
but then I went to the cinema and all good, teacher.
What movie did
And
you watch?
ah, it wasn't the best movie that I have ever seen, but it's called Black Friday, Viernes Negro.
Black Friday. Okay. Was that a terror movie or what
Yeah,
type of movie?
yeah,
Okay.
it's like a horror movie. It wasn't my favorite, but it's okay.
Okay.
And yours?
Y- It was about okay. My friend got sick. She got pretty bad with a throat infection, and then we've been struggling with medicines and pharmaceuticals vary widely in prices. They have a huge variation in prices. For example, one antibiotic that can cost you 100 pesos here will cost you 300, 400 somewhere else.
Yeah.
And this huge variation of. So I kept thinking about pharmaceuticals and patents. What do you think about pharmaceuticals and their patents
Mm, in terms of what?
in terms of their prices and the rights of in the rights of drug discovery and development? In other words, they have a patent exclusivity, and then there is generic competition. There is there are patent challenges, and there is litigation. So there is a lot of things going on around pharmaceuticals, their patents, the regulatory exclusivity. It's a controversial topic because some of the pharmaceuticals are quite expensive. So, for example, it's not easy to discover drugs and develop them, right? And when I say drugs, I mean for the good, right?
Yeah.
Remember that in the past they used to call them drogeria, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my point is, how should they be regulated? Should they be regulated to begin with, or not? First of all, let's begin with drug discovery. What do you think about drug discovery and the development in general terms, Mickey?
Mm, um, well, yeah, as you mentioned, I think that it's a controversial topic. I think that uh, it must be regulated because if it is not regulated, I think that pharmaceuticals can they they could put the price that they want, and the prices probably would increase until more. And obviously, I think that it's important because everybody, all of us requires in occasions medicines. So I think that it's important to regulate it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Now, patents include a wide range of aspects. Like,
Mm-hmm.
for example, these ones: the chemical composition, the formulation, methods of production, and the medical uses. Yeah, you will say what do you say in favor of this thesis, which I agree with. What do you say in favor of this thesis that I just wrote here, Mickey? That patents can
Mm.
cover a wide range of aspects.
Um, yeah, I'm a little confused. Patent is like the like the original one, or it's like that then some pharmaceuticals does like cheaper versions of the products.
No, that is the generic, and
Ah,
the
okay.
patent is the protection that the government gives you, so that nobody can copy that, nobody can replicate
Mm.
it without your permission. It's protected by law.
Oh, okay, I understand. Yeah. Well, obviously, in terms of Uh, in terms of business, obviously, patents is something good to all the pharmaceuticals. But unfortunately, I know that there are products that they sell that are so expensive, and not all people can afford them. So I think that I don't know, because from one part I understood in terms of business, but if I want to see it in a human way, it's difficult to know that there are products that people just cannot afford.
Yeah, exactly. That is true. That is true. And once the patent has been granted, you have the right to manufacture it, to sell it uh, for the duration of the patent term. I don't know what to think about this. Let's read it. Let's read the definition of this. You
Hmm.
can please read it and
Yeah.
tell me the pros and the cons of this statement, please, Mickey.
Once a patent is granted, the pharmaceutical company has exclusive rights to manufacture, use, and sell the patented drug for the duration of the patent term.
What do you think of this? The positive things and the negative things that you mentioned.
Well, obviously, the positive thing is is for all the pharmaceuticals that obviously they invest money, they invest time to develop uh, those medicines. But if I want to see it in the term that not all people can pay for those medicines, and probably that is the type of medicine that they require, it's it's like difficult, you know.
Right. What would be a compromise? What would be like an intermediate range of application of this? Who would regulate it? And which rules would they use to regulate the patent exclusivity? How would you do it if you were the government, maybe?
Mhm. Mm, well, obviously, if you will the government, I think that you will probably establish like a range. You know that probably you can sell this product between this price and this price, but no more than this price, because uh, it's the probably the it's an average price that people can pay it or not.
Okay, very good. Then patents normally have an expiration date, which can
Hmm.
be, I don't know, 5 or 10 years. I'm not sure about that. But
Hmm.
once the patent has expired, other companies can produce and market generic versions of the drug, and normally
Okay,
they cost less.
of course, yeah.
um how would you devise this term for exclusivity? How, how would you develop, how would you assess or determine 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years is good? How would you do that?
Mm, well, probably it must be according for the time that they invest to develop this that medicine or that product, probably.
So for example, if a laboratory, Pfizer or another one, took 3 years to develop it, would you give them the same time to protect it? 3 times to develop it? Okay, 3 times to protect it. How
Mm,
would you do it?
yeah, well, probably between 5 to no more than 10 years, I think. So.
Okay, so no more than 10 years. That would be for the generic. Excuse me.
Bless you. No, don't worry.
Thank you, thank you. Generic competition. Okay, how about the patent challenges and litigation? There's been some cases when there is litigation because a local competitor can say, well, I'm going to start producing my own aspirins or my own tempra or equivalent.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? If you're an innovative company and you can manufacture, let's say, this product for diabetes, what is that called? A substance that is very typical for diabetical people.
Insulin.
Insulin, right? Yeah. Let's say that you start producing. One of the students at ITESI started making the tank where you produce the insulin, and
Oh,
technically
that's
speaking,
great.
he was able to do it.
Wow.
But maybe he cannot because there is a guy that has a patent, and so this other kid cannot produce his own insulin. So, what do you do about that?
Mm, well, I think that we back to the last topic about the time of the patents, but I think that at the end everything is summarized in the time that the patent has. To be
Okay.
honest, I'm not very informed of this topic, but yeah, I think that the purpose of everything is like to give the opportunity to both parts. One of the part that is making the patent, and one of the other part that wants to uh, duplicate it or imitate, and I think that to defend the part of the patent, obviously you gives the enough time, probably between 5 to 10 years, and then of that, I think that other companies can replace it.
Okay, or replicate it too, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
there is a term called in Spanish amparo, juicio de amparo, and in English is called constitutional protection. There is not an equivalent term in English because the law is different. In the US, you have the common law, and in Latin American countries and in Louisiana in the US, you have the Latin common law, or not common law, the Napoleonic or Roman law. Napoleonic or common law, which is a law that comes from the Romans, whereas the American law comes from the Saxons, from the English. It's totally different.
Okay.
But similar is constitutional protection. You look for protection from the government, which is amparo here, right? You look for an amparo. You can use that if you are a laboratory, Mickey, for example, that you want to produce insulin, because the insulin that people are getting is very expensive, and you say, well, I can produce it more inexpensively. Um, what do you say about this? Which are which are the beneficiaries of this, and is it worth it? What do you think?
Mm, about the constitutional protection.
Constitutional protection, yes, which is in Spanish is amparo. You go to the judge and tell him, look, Mr. Judge, I want to start producing insulin, but there is a patent that protects Pfizer or Bayer or this or that.
Hmm.
But I have the technology to do it. Give me protection to do it. What do you think as a judge? What would you do? How would you handle it? And knowing that Bayern and Pfizer and the other companies are going to come after you and tell you, hey, judge, you are making a decision that is affecting us. So, how would you handle that?
Uh, well, it is difficult because we know that those companies are huge companies, and have a product with them probably is not a good idea. But I think that if everything it's in order, and if the other people now have like the permission to elaborate that product, I think that at the end, here is there's free market, and if you don't have a prohibition, I think that you can do it. But again, to be honest, I'm not very informed of this topic, and I don't know if what I'm saying it's completely incorrect.
No, no, no. It makes a lot of sense. Actually, it's very logical what you're saying. There is, I don't know, from these medicines. Well, you're a young and healthy man, so I'm not. I'm sure that you haven't taken many pharmaceuticals. But For example, some of the medicines or pharmaceuticals that I have seen is Prozac. Prozac,
Hmm.
because I know this because a friend of mine used to mention it very much, making a
Uh-huh.
joke of it, saying that such person is he's under Prozac. And he made this making a joke saying that he was bad, he was wrong, he was incorrect. For example, if a engineer made a bad design of the transformers, he says, "Well, what's going on with this guy? He's under Prozac or what?"
Wow. Prozac.
Well, yeah, Prozac. Well, Prozac used to have a patent and now it's generic, right? It's fluoxetine, which is an antidepressant. People who get depressed normally take this pharmaceutical,
Hmm.
right? But this used to have a patent protection, and now the protection has expired, right? Do you know on other pharmaceuticals, Mickey, that have lost their patent and now it's a generic product?
Mm, uh, well, I don't know if the aspirins, or how do you say it?
Aspirins, yes.
It was from Bayer, or what was the original ones?
I think it was from Bayern.
Yeah, but I think that, for example, aspirins, well, now every company can replace it, or replicate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, you know one that is called Advil?
With the right? At,
Yeah,
yeah,
Advil.
yeah, 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 I think so. Hmm.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna give you an example of some products. Advil. Of course, your parents will know because parents use medicines quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then there is one that also lost the patent, which is loratadine.
Mm-hmm.
You know this,
Yeah.
more or less, right? Loratadine. Um, one Prozac, ibuprofen. You know this
Yeah.
ibuprofen. Well, which is actually the generic name of Advil.
Mm.
Ibuprofen. Ibuprofen. Right. Well, these are some of the pharmaceuticals that have lost the protection of the patent protection. Okay. So, what's your feeling, your perception in general terms about the pharmaceutical industry, Mickey? What's your consideration about that? What do you think about it in general?
Oh, well, from one part, I think that there is necessary to have like this diversity of companies and diversity of of medicines, because we know that nowadays there are a lot of new diseases, and it's good to have like a big offer. And when there's a big offer, they can be uh, more variety of the prices. So probably it could benefit us like society. But in the other part, I think that I don't know. I have read some articles and I have seen some videos where they say, for example, that they have cures of certain diseases, and they don't want to launch those medicines, because obviously affects all the industry. And and I have like my, how can I say it, my feelings with that. I feel like it is not fair, but that's the way how the pharmaceuticals works.
Yeah, well, I agree with you totally. And I don't think it is fair that they wait for the market to regulate itself or something. I believe that it's unfair because you're playing with human lives.
Hmm.
It's human lives that we're dealing here with. So I don't think people should wait. If you have a solution for a deadly disease, cancer, leukemia, some types of hepatitis, and I think people should disclose that. That's the duty when they do these inventions of
Yeah,
these drugs, right? When they take the final exam, they say, "I swear under oath that I will do everything for humankind and with generosity for humanity," and this and that is an oath that even doctors take, right?
yeah,
They say, "I'm going to do it for the goodwill of the patient, of the people." They don't say, "I'm going to do it to make myself a billionaire as soon as I can."
exactly. Yeah, and for example, I went to the church the last Friday because it was, I think, the first day of the month. My mom when I go to the church, and it was something that makes me think because about it because um, one last week before that I saw a girl probably she had 8 or 9 years old more or less, and now when I went to the church the last Friday, I saw the mom of this girl, but without that girl, and then I realized that she had like a little picture, and it was the picture of her. I think that she had leukemia, and
I know.
and it was just like a 1 week of difference, and it makes me so sad, because it was like, oh my god, I know that probably they have the cure of those problems, but they don't care about it.
Jeez, that's horrible.
Yeah,
Well,
yes,
yeah, what a pity. That's a pity. Well, that's exactly the next topic: balancing access and innovation. Can you please read this paragraph where it says about access and innovation, balancing access to the drugs
yeah.
and innovation, please, Mickey.
Balancing access and innovation. There is an ongoing debate about finding a balance between providing incentives for pharmaceuticals innovation and ensuring access to affordable medicines, especially in the context of life saving drugs.
It's exactly what you said, right?
Yeah, there must be a balance.
Yeah. The the issue when there is a problem and there is a solution is who is in charge. Who is in charge to regulate the application and the patents of drugs and medicines?
Mm, give the regulations, the government, suppose.
The government, right? The government. They should provide the regulations. They say this is acceptable, this is not.
Yeah,
The problem is, I think the problem is that sometimes when there are friends, he's my friend, go to this position. And this guy that maybe has a good heart, who's a good person, I'm not saying that he's the devil or he's a bad person, but if he's
yeah,
not competent or if she's not competent, then there may be a situation like this, right? To make a profound and important decision, and he's gonna say or she's gonna say, well, whatever, give him the patent, but they're gonna charge 400,000 for a doses of to fight leukemia, and only very few families will afford that. Well, we'll see that later, but put it like that. So they are good people, but they are not competent. So that is a problem when we give important positions to people who don't have the capacity, don't you think?
yeah. I think that that's a big issue, and I think that's a issue that uh, has passed for so many years, and is that we put our friends, we put our family. We have seen cases where a government puts their friends or their own family in their, how do you say, cabinet, or in their,
Yeah, in the cabinet. Yeah, exactly.
and I think that that's the issue, is the at the end corruption.
Yeah,
But well, that's a mess.
yeah. So if they are not competent to make important decisions and we want to benefit our friends, I am the governor and I want to benefit my brother or my cousin or my mom or my sister or whoever. Uh, I would say, well, from my money, I give him the money. Here's the money. Go buy some ice cream, right?
Yeah,
But if I tell my daughter to make important decisions, hey, you're gonna fly this jet, this Lufthansa or this uh, American Airlines bus jet. You're gonna fly it, but why? Because you are my daughter and I love you, Minita. Well, but if she doesn't know how to fly a jet, she's gonna create a massacre, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I think that it is necessary to put people in their correct place, not only put it because it's your friend or because it's your family. I think that uh, at the end, everything summarized in try to do the correct things. Yeah.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And then we need to give people education in two aspects. I think you may be very competent or very knowledgeable, but still make a decision that affects a lot of people. In other words, maybe Pepe or Juan or Chago are capable people, but they don't take the right decision from ethical perspectives. So I want to ask you if you think that knowledge, this may be wrong or maybe right, I don't know what you think, knowledge and ethics should go together. Because maybe the person knows what is right for the people, but he wants to favor only a few, or he's going to say, well, I know what's good and what's bad, but this decision is going to affect, like in this case of your friend or the girl that you saw, right? So do you think they should go together, or what do you
Of
think?
course. Yeah, of course. It's like have a balance, you know. Obviously, you know that you have the knowledge, but if you're not ethical, at the end, the knowledge that you have doesn't work. So I think that it must be a balance.
There must be a balance, right?
Hmm.
Okay, how do you assess the ethics of a person? That's a difficult question. Praise or assess the ethics of a person. That may sound easy, but I don't know if it is easy. How do you make an assessment of the ethics of a person?
Well, it is difficult because I think that there are a lot of people that is good pretending.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and more nowadays. So I think that the only way that you can more or less have an access of how could be the person is with the actions that he had made or the actions or the way how well I don't know because there are a lot of people that know how to pretend and um, there is difficult like to give the steps to determine if one person is ethical or not.
Well, you mentioned something very important, observation of behavior. How do you do that, Mickey? How do you observe the behavior of a person?
Mm, probably I would summarize it saying that if the words that he or she is saying it's according to the things that the to the actions that this person does, probably I would say that uh, at least he he's a man or he's a, uh woman of word. How do you say of
Yeah, in his on his word. He's a man on his
word?
word.
Yeah.
She's a woman on his word. That's a great comment. Absolutely. If the words match the actions,
Exactly.
perfect. Great comment. All right, let's go for the next one, which is communication and transparency. Mm, this refers to how a person talks, is exactly what you said. How a person talks and how a person acts, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that an honest person is more willing to communicate his actions and intentions openly, or he's more like intricate, silent, which doesn't mean that it's unethical. Many people are very cautious. If you work in something which is more or less private, you
Yeah.
don't expose everything to the public. But in general, talking about simple things, do you believe that ethical individuals are often straightforward, willing to communicate their actions and intentions in general, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think that if they don't have something to hide, there must be a reason why they wouldn't be transparent or be open in communication in general.
Yeah, in this case, I have a debate, a constant debate with members of my family, and very dear members of my family. On two
Mm-hmm.
extremes, you have caution plus discretion,
Mm-hmm.
discretion, and they are in this area. That's their area, and I'm not on the other side. Um, Openness, open, openness. I think it's written like this: openness and clarity. And there is this debate that people should be open and clear in their actions, in their words, and in their expressions. But on the other side of the spectrum, there is this theory that people should be cautious and discreet,
Mm-hmm.
because then if you say, well, the keys of my house are here, right? So there will be a person will come and open your house and rob
Yeah,
you.
of course. Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, you cannot be tiptoeing, right? It looks bad to me that you are tiptoe, tiptoe, in tiptoe. You know what tiptoe is? In the tips of the
Mm.
toes,
No, okay, yeah.
right? You cannot be tiptoeing. Well, you can, but that would look suspicious to me, at least, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We have this constant debate. Well, there is a brother coming. Well, why didn't you know? Would you tell me that this brother was coming? Well, because it's his privacy. Well, yeah, but his family. He's not a criminal running away from justice. Yeah, but he wants to maintain his life private. And then we have this constant debate in family, and very dear family, very close. So, what do you think about this, Mickey?
Mm, well, we know that every person is like a completely different worth, and probably I think that mm, how can I say it? I think that it depends of the behavior or the way how the person is, because for example, normally I'm not too open in some things because I don't know, probably that's
Your personality.
my personal, yeah, exactly, my personality. But at the end I think that if you don't have something to hide, and it's not something private, because I think too that there are things that you just need um, to save for you,
Yeah,
like private things. I think
yeah,
that if it's not something private and it's someone that you know, probably your family, as you mentioned, I think that there mustn't be a problem in extern your ideas or to extern whatever you want. I don't know. it's it's something that I need to think about.
yeah. It's something to think about. Doesn't mean that you have to change, or doesn't mean that I have to change, or my mother has to change, or my brother. It's just a very curious situation that is part of a debate, and it's constant debate,
Yeah.
because I am not exactly here. I'm not exactly that I reveal everything that I see, or that I reveal, or that I no, 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 that's not true either. But if I had to be somewhere, I would be more like a little bit more like maybe like here. I would be more like here, right, in the red, where the
Mhm.
red arrow is, trying to be more open and clear than here. I'm not. I think I'm not here. I don't think I am here that I reveal everything. Hey, my this happened. Hey, this happened. I go telling everyone their secrets. No, of course not. But I'm also not like Raffles, the person of the story that was a famous thief that was always tiptoeing and getting information. And what time do you open your office, Miss Whatever? Oh, this off.
Yeah.
Oh, and what time do you go to bed? Oh, okay. Well, okay. Thank you very much. So he was gathering information, and then he in under the table he went and stole things, right? The
Yeah.
famous
Yeah.
thief. So I'm not saying that being cautious is to be a thief or hiding something bad. It's just extremely cautious, like my grandpa and my mom and my brother. And being totally open is also being maybe imprudent. I don't know. I have this conception, Mickey. Where do you place yourself in the scale here? Where do you think you are? And I'm not saying this is good or this is bad.
Yeah.
I'm just, I'm
Um,
just
Probably nearest to caution and discretion. Probably in like the if we divide it in four parts in the first quarter.
the first one. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
more or less. Because normally I'm not too open with people that I recent met. Normally I don't know. Sometimes it is difficult to me to open myself with people that I I recently met. And but when I have like this confidence, probably I will be like yours. But
okay.
when I met the person, really I met them. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I am probably here. Probably, maybe here. I don't know, in this area, right? And I should probably move a little bit towards the left, probably a little bit. And I've been trying to move towards the left a little bit, like in
Mhm.
this direction, little by little. But well, that's
Yeah, yeah,
also it's not that I am a secret agent, right? And I'm handling government's information or something. I'm a
yeah.
teacher. I am a teacher. So what can I hide, right? And that
Yeah,
doesn't mean
that's
that
true.
I go saying, "Hey, Mickey just told me this great secret." And he's not. No, of course not, right? I protect the privacy of my students. I protect the privacy of my family. I protect the privacy of my girlfriend. I protect the privacy of my daughters. But that doesn't mean that I cannot. I can say, "Hey, my daughter Minerva lives in Pittsburgh." And then somebody says, "Why are you saying that your daughter lives in Pittsburgh? There may be bad people." Yeah, but if there is a thief next door, he's not going to fly to the US to try to do harm to my daughter. In other words, sometimes, well, that's the kind of debates that we have at home, Mickey. What do you think?
Yeah, well, it's something that, as in occasions, I've been think about it because I have met people that they are so open, and normally people that it's so open since the beginning. I don't know. It gives me like a probably not like a
Feeling?
bad feeling, but yeah, a little bit. You know, I don't trust in people that can be so open, so quickly and so
So quickly.
and so easily because I think that if you say something to that person, probably this person gonna say it in other moment, and just because it's like their personality, you know?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but no, I don't know.
You're totally right. And I fully sympathize with your comment. Fully, fully, fully. So it's a matter of finding our right spot in society. And I would say, maybe you agree, maybe not,
Hmm.
that kind of a balance being in this area, like from here where you are to here, would be perfect, right? Like modulate your position about privacy, obviously without transgressing or trespassing the boundaries, which are, we would say, well, this is acceptable, right? To be here, this is acceptable. I'm going to make this transparent, right?
Yeah,
This is transparent. And then you can move yourself, or we can move ourselves within these boundaries. But maybe beyond that would be, I mean, fishy to say the least, right?
yeah, exactly. At the end, uh, everything there must be a boundary, and we don't need to overpass that boundary because I think that, mm, as you mentioned, we're not like we're not working in a private, I don't know, organization or something like that. But yeah, at the end, I think that, as I mentioned, when you have your private things, well, you maintain that private things,
Yeah,
and the rest, if you want to share it, well,
that's up to you.
yeah, exactly.
Very good, very good. Yes. Just to finish this point, my brother, for example, I signed a confidentiality agreement when I was working for Siemens. and
Okay.
that meant that all the elements referring to this company, prices, costs, suppliers, providers, clients, technicians, everything associated with that should have been confidential for 4 years. You couldn't disclose any information to no one during 4 years after your contract expired. Later on, that became against the law, and the law um dissolved that law. But at that time, in 2000,
Mhm.
23 years ago, you needed to sign this confidentiality agreement. My brother now is in a company in the US, and he cannot disclose anything about his job, technically speaking, or commercially. So he's talking to me, where are you working? Well, I'm here working here. Ah, okay, really? And then I told him once, what do you do there? Well, I'm not allowed to discuss it with anyone in the family or outside. Ah, okay, that's all right. And he told me that once, and I never asked him again. But he's not in the private in the Secret Service, of course, he's not.
Yeah.
But he's in a highly technical company, and so he cannot disclose anything about his work. Okay, I respect that. And obviously, he's very cautious.
Yeah, of course. Well,
Okay, Mickey. Another aspect, another word of ethics is integrity. And we have talked about this a number of times. And it's a concept I think that we both agree that is very important and and very nice. How do you know when a person is has integrity, Mickey?
mm, well, when the person has values, when the person has uh, well, I think that's like the example that we said when the their works match with their actions, uh, and when this person respect the others. I think in general.
Okay, respect of others. Now, this is very very important. What you're saying is very important. I'm gonna challenge a little bit. Not that I am against this. I'm totally in favor of this. But I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
challenge each of the elements. I agree with these elements, but I'm going to give you a little challenge. For example, you have values. Our families have values, but not all the values are the same, Mickey. Some other people may say, "Well, I have a different set of values," right?
Yeah.
So there will be a little struggle, right? A person from a segment of society will say, "These are my values, and those are your values." Which values will prevail? How do you fight your rooster or your chicken against the other chicken? Like a chicken fight, chicken fights?
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
Okay. How do you fight your values versus the values of another person, another community, another society, another country?
Well, I think that well, that's a good question, and at the end, I think that everything depends if in what society you're in. For example, I don't know if we compare society with Asian societies, there will be things that for us are completely weird or are not usual, and in other parts are completely normal. So I think that the values that must prevail, there must be the values of the society that we are or that we are visiting in our case.
That's very, very important what you're saying. The values that you have now. And I'm asking you this for a reason. We had a discussion about colonialism.
Okay.
Colonialism. And the values that the indigenous people had at that time was the god of rain, Tlaloc,
Mm-hmm.
and the god of this and the god of that. There was a polytheistic, polytheistic society.
Hmm.
and many others, right? And those were the values that they had, or our ancestors had, right? And then there was the colonization, and with that, the religion. And I am a religious person. Don't think that I am not. I am a religious person.
Yeah, yeah.
And then with the colonization, a new set of values was established and actually was not agreed upon. It was imposed, right? But
Hmm.
imposed. It was imposed. And there is a lot of study and studies about this. What do you think about a society that imposes his values through now and the modern society? I'm not going to talk more about the colonies and how we were conquered, or the not we, but the society in Mexico is the result of the conquer of the Spanish over the Indians, which is a very interesting episode where values were imposed.
Yeah.
What's your opinion about that? I'm curious.
Uh, well, yeah, of course, I'm religious too, and I know that probably if that episode of the colonialism uh, would have ever existed, probably I would believe in, in a completely other thing. But um,
Maybe we would be living in a hut, right?
yeah, probably. Probably.
And dancing the dance of fire, right?
I don't know. Probably. I don't know. It's it's a really good question, and it's a question that I think that requires a lot of analysis because
Yeah, exactly, exactly. There are complete doctoral degrees to answer this question. And I'm asking us to answer this in an hour session, right? But well, just
yeah, it's okay. A little bit of. I think that sometimes it's necessary to think about those things that we normally see like normal, but we normally do because that's the way in how it has been uh, done. How is it?
Don has done. Yes.
Yeah. So I think that those questions uh, sometimes are necessary. You know. Uh, but to be honest, in this moment, I don't know how to how to answer probably.
Yeah. Well, no, no, we don't have to answer about that. I don't have the answer myself, and
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
been in this degree for a year now and doing lots of readings. But what we can do is to listen to many people to the concept of decolonialism.
Hmm.
Decolonialism. And the idea is not that we forget our pants and our jeans and our jersey and start wearing gabanes or
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
or start dancing the dance of fire. That's not the idea. The
Hmm.
idea is that we adopt some of the practices that the people that lived before the colonization, before that era,
Hmm.
had at that time, which was solidarity, the love for earth, which is called the Pachamama,
Yeah.
the love for the culture, for the eco culture,
Hmm.
the love for nature, uh, because the idea that these social fighters have is that colonialism implied uh, pre- a predator behavior of the resources. That's what they say, predator behavior with the natural resources. That means that the colonies tried to
Yeah.
absorb as much as possible from the resources and consequently destroyed or deforested the nature. Deforested, pollute, deforested forests, polluted water, and contaminated and eroded the soils. So it's not that they say the god of the sun, the god of rain, the god of this. They complain about this. They say they had predatory behavior with the resources, deforested the forest, polluted the water, and eroded the soil. That's all what they did, right?
Yeah,
And
that's
so they have this complaint, and that's what they want to decolonize the societies, not only one society, the societies, to take some countries or nations or societies back to the law for nature, law for uh, good agricultural practices. In other words, it's something very practical what they are claiming. What do you think of this?
yeah. I think that it's necessary because, as I mentioned, I think that we normally act in a way because probably that's the way in how the rest of people act, or the people that was in the past acts too. And I think that sometimes it's necessary to think why we how can I say it, why we act in the way that we normally act. I think that sometimes we do some things, we do some activities, and we think in a way because that's the way in how people normally thinks. And I think that's necessary to probably I'm I'm a little bit philosophical, but yeah, thinking why you act in the way that you normally act, and try to uh, step by step determine the things or the activities that benefits you, and the activities that benefits the the society in general.
Well, you're saying you're reaching a very very important conclusion, and I would say that they shouldn't be adversaries. And I think it is here where some people go astray and some people agree with you with your ideas, right?
Hmm.
I very much like your comment. I think it is a very smart comment in the sense that it's very logical and it's very obvious. The conclusion is obvious, but not many people think like that. This is the individual, and the other circle is the society, right?
Hmm.
So the more what benefits you benefits the society, you will be more like in companionship or comradeship.
Yeah,
Whereas if you say, well, this is me and the society, uy, fuchi,
yeah, yeah, of course. Hmm.
so the society will be your adversary. Whereas if you say, well, I love trees and nature needs trees. I love I like to be clean and I love a clean environment. I love
Hmm.
I don't know, being healthy, and I love a healthy society. I like security and safety, and I like a society that is secure and safe. Well, you are very much aligned with the society, right? You love your individualism, which is fair, and you also love the society, the community. What do you think about that, Mickey?
Yeah, I think that it's necessary, and I think that um, it's something that we, as individual and as a society, need to think about. I think that uh, we have noticed a lot of issues that we have like society, and I think that those issues could change a little by little, but starting from ourselves. And and yeah, obviously you're not gonna be a revolutionary. Well, you can, but you cannot be a revolutionary person just from one day to other. I think that it's necessary um, to be according to the how can I say, to the rules or to the things that are established. But probably I think that the first step to start change is being aware that sometimes we act in a way and we are not thinking about it, just we act for the reason of acting.
That's a great conclusion. Being aware that sometimes we behave or we act or behave as a result of let's call it we can change the name eventually,
Yeah.
external programming.
Yeah.
We can find a better name if you wish, but well, for the moment we can say this. What do you think of this?
Yeah. Exactly. That's what I was trying to say.
Well, the idea is just amazing. It's an amazing idea because it's true. I fully agree with that. We are aware, we need to be aware that sometimes we act or behave as a result of external programming. And who is that programming, or which are those programming forces? Let's call that programming forces. Who does that? Who is programming us? Who's giving us this is called ideology.
Hmm.
Who gives us the ideology? Where do we get it from?
Yeah. Well, I think that here we can start with a lot of theories, but
Yeah, okay.
one of them, I think that will be the same government.
The government. Okay. Yeah, that is true.
The big companies too.
Big companies. Yes. You think the media gives us a little bit of programming too,
Yeah,
more
of
or
course.
less? The media, the
Made in general, movies, music, yeah, everything.
movies, music, everything. That's true. Everything.
Social media.
Social media, social media, social media. Well, this is incredibly important because if you think it's not you and me, I think it's the complete society. Very often, very, very often, work under programming forces or the ideology of someone or some people. And
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be bad, but we need to be aware, as you say, and that's very important.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
the consequences. Yes,
Hmm.
Mickey, go, go, go.
No, no, tell me.
And the consequences of that programming, because if they
Exactly.
tell you, well, plant trees, love nature, protect your resources, fertilize the soil, don't erode it, clean the water, don't pollute it, etc. Well, that works according to our environment, our home. We are cleaning our home, right?
Hmm.
But if it tells you, uh, it doesn't matter the forest, just destroy the forest if you need to make one more penny. Well, wait, I don't need to destroy the forest if I want to make 5 more cents or 10 more cents, right? I need to protect the environment. Yeah, wealth is good. I want to have money. Yes, of course. It's good to have money. Yeah, it's good. It's good to have food. Yes, it's excellent. But I also need to protect nature, right?
Yeah, of course. At the end, um, if we don't have nature, probably it doesn't matter the money that we have because we cannot use it or we don't know until what day we're gonna be here.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Well, as you said, this is a comment that gives you for debates and debates and debates. Uh, what should we do once you are aware that sometimes we act or behave as a result of external programming? What do you do here? What is the second step? This is the first step, and I believe it's the most important one. What is
Hmm.
the second one?
Mm, probably try to be independent from all those programming forces. Probably not in a liberal way, but for example, uh, try to determine what is good and what is not good for you in general. I don't know, for example, the music, the social media, the news. Um, for example, we know about big companies that they are launching a lot of new seasons of clothing, new sneakers, new whatever. So be aware that probably, obviously, they are doing a big fortune of all of us, and try to determine what is necessary and what is not. And we can do it from all those programming forces. I know that there will be other ones that will be more difficult to do, but I think that when you start with one, uh, you can then start with the others.
Yeah, that's a great, great conclusion. Okay, Mickey. Well, it was a nice talk as
Yeah.
usual. Um, Normally Mondays, because I am normally here in Leon, it's harder for me to start early. I'll find a way to get to a closer place to be able to start earlier.
Hmm.
Fridays normally I have no problem 8:30 because I'm in my home in
Yeah,
Irapuato, but Mondays normally I'm here. So well, see you next Friday, Mickey.
next Friday. Yes, sure, don't worry. And if you, for example, don't have internet or something, just send me a message and we can, if I don't have an issue or other commitment, we can, uh, yeah, see in what other hour can we have the class.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mickey. I appreciate it. Take care. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful week.